Hello everyone, dear Mr. Elenani, dear UNESCO team. Hello, my name is Fanny Menardi. I am applying for the 2 jobs at the UNESCO as Assistant Director for Culture and Education. In whichever role you will need me to assist you, I would love to join your team. So I've been working all my life in both fields. I'm passionate about culture. I wrote books about travel, about cultural anthropology, an encyclopedia about symbols from all around the world. I dearly believe that awareness about each other, about other cultures and other religion is at the root of all the conflicts in the world, of all the understanding and how to mediate peace, and of course we're all humans. We're all human. I also argue with my friends. I'm not perfect in communication. And what is the root cause of that? Is that when you're not given the opportunities, when it's always the same people who you're watching succeed, and it's always the same defamation towards you, the same stories, of course, you get aggravated. And at some point, you don't take the comments anymore, the nasty comments or the lies or the bullying. Okay, so this is why it's so important to work together with big organizations like UNESCO, so we can gather and feel like we're part of a force that is taking over this ridiculous mindset, or even a machine that's been going on for way too long, for the oil industry or the nuclear trend. This is all I've been doing for the past 10 years in America. So if you know my story, I have been a French teacher, Spanish teacher, English teacher. I'm also a certified science teacher. I've been teaching all around the world, so I'm also good with kids and good with teaching, even though it's not really my passion. But this is why I created my own trainings. But I worked all around the world to learn about the cultures. And everywhere you go, they need teachers, because this is where the gap is. The future lies in the next generations, of course. So this is where we have to address a problem with the survivors of Gaza or genocides or wars. We have to go back and educate them, okay? So they can have opportunities for the next generation. But what they forgot is that I went to the United States to help them. I didn't go to the United States because my life was desperate and I needed help. I had a great life in Peru. I had a great job in the Middle East. Everywhere I went, I succeeded. I was very successful. And I really had this manifestation energy around me that everywhere I went, magic opened. And when I came to the US, I felt like people were so disconnected, so fearful of other cultures or what they don't know. They've been told all their lives that the United States is the best thing out there, so they don't even know what's around the world. They don't want to go out of their countries. They're scared, and then they don't know anything. They think they know it all. I went there to help them open their mind. I went there to share my books. I went there to share my mindset and my knowledge in mystical things that I didn't learn in any school, but I learned by experience, by feeling it, analyzing it, and then connected with other networks, other communities, spiritual communities, so-called spiritual communities that they call themselves in the US, when in fact they're teaching individualism, they're teaching how to be selfish, they're teaching they're teaching detachment, all things that for me are extremely painful. I think that it's a gift to be attached to people, to depend on each other, to have this society of collaboration, of partnerships, of loyalty, So they really forgot about that because, of course, the devil came to me when I started ascending in the United States. I was bullied, I was attacked by terrorists, I was bullied by my whole city. And then on top of that, even the people who came supposedly to help me censored me. And it was a whole harassment for many years. And then they were kind of like, oh, we have to help that girl, forgetting that I came to help them open their mind and see things differently. But people you don't want to expose, when you expose the way people, what's wrong in a society, people feel bad about themselves because it's asked too much of them to change, and to share. You have all these millionaires that have been trying to bring in a network to donate and contribute and create this circular economy. And all I've been teaching is how to be selfish and how to be, make people grind even more, make the way difficult, like they say in the Emerald tablets. You have to make the way easy for people. So, of course, they taught a whole lot of other great things. Otherwise, I wouldn't have written a book about them. They do donate to charities. They do donate. They build schools in Africa. Tony Robbins gives to Feeding America. So, of course, I admire those people. But don't forget that you have to invest into small businesses before they end up at Feeding America. Okay? So that was really a bad decade for me in the United States, where it was really me against the world and leading this community that never opened any doors for me. But I also kept ascending and ascending and ascending until reaching, the US government. And now we're working with the Pentagon, the Department of State. Of course, we still have Tony Robbins and Forbidden Knowledge and all these networks that are, we're all part of the same family, even though we argue and there were a lot of betrayals. The FBI, all these people that have the power, the United Nations. This is why I work so hard to keep the connection. So these people who do have the power, who do have the funding, who do have the leverage, the influence, they can listen to us. What is the problem of the middle class? What is the problem of single women? What is the problem in our culture? That instead of helping weak people, we beat them up even more. What is with the jealousy? Seriously, in my own journey, I was denied jobs because I was single, so I was a threat. So people like, what, I'm gonna sleep with everyone? I was a threat to people, so I was denied jobs. Then, if I would be with someone, then I'm not loyal. Then, if you're not working, you're not serious enough. Then, if you're working somewhere, you have to stop to work there. Like, there's always an excuse for people to be cowards. I'm so sick of it. This is why I want to come to UNESCO and bring a new mentality. And mostly in France, the one thing that I love about the United States that I miss is the persistence mindset. It doesn't matter what people did to you. It doesn't matter, this is them. It doesn't matter anything, okay? It matters that you're not gonna let that win. If you have a goal in your life or you have dreams, people are actually gonna be more comfortable watching you fail because it makes them feel better about themselves. And most of the times, your own friends. And coming back to friends, I'm seeing this a lot of the people that are more comfortable with you being, having failed and having lost everything. During my divorce, a lot of people said, give up everything, just come back, start over as a receptionist. I was like, bro, you know how much I've been working for my stuff? I'm not a receptionist, okay? I'm aiming there. And even if I don't make it there, I'm still gonna aim there. And then if I end up low, then that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm not gonna aim there. I'm gonna aim there first. And a lot of people, they criticize you because, oh, you lost everything. Oh, you still get the money to do your hair though. Oh, and you're still buying clothes. What, you want me to look like a hobo because I'm trying to survive in my life? This bothers people. And then you have the people who completely gave up on life because they don't feel like they have the opportunity, or they want something but it's so far away from them that they will not have the courage to take the first step. And then they kind of convince themselves that it's okay to just enjoy life and look at the moment and what we have in front of you. And it's true. If you don't have, I feel lucky because I have a passion in my life. I've always had passion for art. I've always had passion for culture. I love people. I love events. I love when you go to an event that makes you feel good. you know, you go to an event and there was amazing singers, or there was amazing art, or you had an amazing discussion with someone. I felt like this a lot when I was at the Alliance Française. I felt really fulfilled with my job because we were doing a lot of cultural events and meeting all these people, and people who feel good because they're part of a community and we can lift each other up. I feel lucky that I have that, because now I have goals, I have career goals. But it's true that, for example, I mean, no, I've always had that career mindset. Even when I was at the university, I already knew what I wanted to do. But I understand that if you don't know what you want to do, or you don't specifically have a passion, or you don't really know, it's really difficult to move forward and just get out of just drinking and doing drugs and having just spend a good time. But then you're gonna stay in this little same struggle all your life, which for me is unacceptable. I will never just be content with that. Of course, it's the oblivion, and then just enjoy the moment. But in France, a lot of people are like that. They feel like they're falling into oblivion, and they're just gonna, you know, enjoy the life. It's part of the French culture. But if we want to scale more, like the President Macron said, we want to scale, we want to have more leverage, we want to bring more of the environmental mentality, energy transition, everything that I promoted through my Ministry of Sound project, we need to do these trainings. So that's what I want to bring to the UNESCO. I've created a whole encyclopedia with a whole bunch of trainings that can be applied to anything. It can be applied to politics, political negotiations. It can also be applied to graphic design, how to improve your visuals, how to make your visuals more meaningful, more intentional. It can also be, I use them at school with my middle schoolers about the sustainable development goals. Every week we would work on a sustainable development and have like debates. I have some worksheets for schools that are in the trainings. I have political debates, journalistic, you know, files, like, for example, I mean, that's going to be in the next book, but what is going on in Gaza, for example, you know, what is the perspective to have? You can't just look at the perspective that you see in one channel of news, but you also have different dimensions at the soul level also, and what is the lesson that we must learn, and how not to repeat history. No matter what your beliefs are, it's always unacceptable to kill people and to kill children. You know, in Gaza, I'm convinced whoever started it, whether it is the Biden government or the Trump's government or whatever, but I'm convinced that they just needed the land in Gaza, and they made up some stories and kill people just as an excuse to kill everyone and just rebuild in the way they're going to make more money out of it. This is a certainty. So then, who sold the weapons to Hamas? Who sold the weapons to Hamas? America. America is the one who sells the weapons to everything. They sell the weapons to NATO, who sells them to Ukraine, and then they say they want to make peace. If you want to make peace, stop selling the weapons. That's as simple as that. Don't sell the weapon and send your own military, okay, so you can solve the problem without letting your weapons out in the field, in nature, and then you don't know where they end up. So yes, guys, there is a lot still to do. I went to America with a big project of denuclearization, energy transition. I knew it was not going to be easy. Just because, you know, a little blonde says so, but then the Secretary General of the United Nations said so, then the Nobel Peace Prize Committee said so, and then a lot of people started being interested, you know, the Russians also were interested into that. So just because it didn't work just yet doesn't mean that this is the end. This is an evidence, okay? This is something that has to happen. Over the course of history, we will have to get rid of nuclear weapons. We will have to stop depending on oil and just really accelerate the energy transition, because the ice is melting, because the air pollution, mostly with now the rockets going to Mars and all the pollution that there is in Florida or in just our atmospheres in general. So all these are things that are going to happen. And instead of focusing on AI or just investing on things that are going to turn against us eventually, that we already know, but we keep pouring our money into that just because we want to stay relevant, is ridiculous. There's one thing I can tell you, is that I don't care about being relevant. Because sometimes pioneers have to go against the trend, okay, to make the change. And this has been all over the course of history. The people who are the black sheep of the family, the people who go to jail, the journalists, even though they're Nobel Prize winners in Iran, end up in jail because they're doing their job against the regime. Okay, all these that were the black sheep end up being the heroes of history. So don't be scared about taking risk, of being different. If you know you're right, and not just because it's your mindset, but because there's other scientists that prove it, there's organizations that proved it, then the role is to connect and stay strong together. And also proving that we don't give up loyalty. Loyalty is one thing, is loyalty, and turning anger into creative fire. You know how many times people just piss me off, the disrespect that comes after injustice? It makes me so angry. After all I've done for America, and after all the disrespect, all the betrayals against me, and then on top of it, when you lose it all and people feel like they're a little superior to you, and then they're so disrespectful. Wow, this is my fuel, actually. For 2 minutes, I want to give up on everything and end up just drinking and taking drugs all day and forget about my life. But then I'm not like that. So this is for like 2 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, okay, watch me, because I'm not over yet. So all the people who disrespect you along the way, you know, you don't want to make them right. You want to associate with people. You want to turn this anger into creative fire and create things that you're going to prove them better. Okay, you can always prove them right, or you can prove them better. Okay, you're not going to go and start shooting people because they piss you off. Okay, this is in America because they don't want to remove the Second Amendment of the Constitution, even though it kills more people than car accidents every year. Wow. But so this is the mentality that we need to bring, and to bring and help people find their passion also. So I can teach. If you hire me for culture or for education, I can teach my trainings. I can teach art. I can teach people how to be more connected to their intuition. And one thing leading to another. It's called the stewardship of ideas. This is Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels who talked about that. Like, God is going to send you a little idea. And if you do something good with that little idea, he's going to be like, oh, look at that person, how he nailed it. Okay, let's send them a little more something and see what they do with it. And let's send them something better. And then this is how you end up with massive projects. But I know other people, for example, who are just like, oh, I don't care, whatever, that's not my responsibility. And they're very smart people, very connected, sometimes you can just live your life one foot in front of the other, and it's going to open up because you're not an overthinker, you're more connected in the doing. But for a lot of people, like, send you an idea and you're like, oh, I can't do that. Or, oh, I'm not going to take the critic. Or I'm not going to take being treated like that, you know, and give up. And then they stop sending you the opportunities because you gave up already. Okay, so it doesn't matter how many times I've been betrayed and how many times people gave up on me, or it doesn't matter because nothing can stop me, you know, I don't care. So yeah, it's not about me, but it's about the mentality we're going to bring to France and we're going to bring to UNESCO. And I want to bring all my entire collection. So I created a whole collection that I have not sold. I kept it for UNESCO. I've always wanted my art to become a part of the UNESCO patrimony. So all my paintings, I would love to do art exhibitions and talk about, you know, the stories behind them, the people who inspired them, whether it is a specific culture, like the Egyptian gods or the Incas, the prophecy of Pachacuti, the Peruvian legends, or the lost cities of Angkor Wat in Cambodia, or the Celtic traditions of Stonehenge, using connecting the paint with the travel books and the culture, the stories, the languages, or the modern day people that have been in our community, that inspire each other, that work together. And what I'm very appreciative of is how the US government, even though they accused me of being like a Russian spy and stuff like that, and to kick me out of the country like I'm the cause of the war or whatever, which is not true. All I've been doing since the beginning was trying to tie the bridge with Russia, to reestablish connection and to start the denuclearization process. Okay, so then they don't listen, and then they accuse you. Why? Because they don't want to lose their status. And oh my God, imagine a woman without a badge who could do better. They would never admit that. But yes, so you say you have SpaceX right here, and NASA, another great success from our politics is the association with NASA and SpaceX. They were all about competition, and then when we told them stop the duplicate research and investing in the same research from both companies and make it one, so you can save the money and invest into humanitarian fundings instead. So SpaceX, Parallel World, you have the Chakana here, you have also, of course, my new generation spaceship. I've been wanting to organize the Space Olympics 2030, which maybe might be a little too late now, but one day. Now we're already talking about the Winter Olympics 2030 in France. It's really, really sad to see everyone succeed and be left behind. But if you give up on yourself, who else? How do you expect people not to give up on you? So this is it, guys. If you're passionate, at least when I started, I'm gonna tell you something. When I started my travel books, I didn't even want to sell them. I made these travel books for my grandkids. I was so proud of myself when I was 25 years old, of traveling all around the world and having such an easy life, even though I never had much. I don't know how I survived. I don't know how I survived 10 years in the US without being assassinated or jailed or ending up homeless, even though I stayed jobless for many years, accumulated massive amount of debts. I dealt with terrorists, like freaking crazy stuff. I went to Peru, I left, I had $2,000. I left to Peru, one-way ticket. And I was like, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna find a job, do a work visa, I'm gonna figure it out. I did it. America, I came back from America, I was like, I can't believe they haven't either killed me or jailed me. I made it. And I'm back, and I still get my hair done. Okay, so I don't know how. Because my family isn't rich, they haven't been pouring a lot of money. My dad helped me for the past, since my divorce. But it's not like I have a lot of help, actually. I've done it all by myself. And I don't know how I did it, But I feel like it's because my connection and my trust in the journey of knowing that I'm going to accomplish great things, that then there is always, at the last minute, there's always something that comes up. Every time. So this is the trust, and this is something that is not taught in schools. They tell you that you have to play it safe. All my friends, they know me as irresponsible. They all tell me, "Oh, you're so irresponsible with your money. You don't. You're not careful. You you're broke, you go on a trip, and I was like, and this is how I did things in my life. I was like, if I was always scared, because I don't have a lot, I wouldn't have done anything in my life. When I was in Peru after my divorce, and I accumulated 7 credit cards, 7 credit cards, and I was already like $30,000, $20,000 in debt, and I was like, okay, now, first, I thought I was gonna find a job really quickly, but then I didn't. But I told my son, I was like, listen, now I'm gonna be in real bad situation. I'm gonna have some problems. So we might as well enjoy our time right now, because when it's gonna go bad, we're not gonna be able to do anything. So let's take a trip to Peru. And I got another credit card, and I took my son to Peru for 3 weeks, and we went there, and we had the best time. I showed him, I always promised I was gonna take him to Peru. And yeah, of course, after I had to pay back, and I had to face the consequences. But if I had been like, oh my God, my money is gonna be so bad. Oh my God, I'm not gonna do nothing anymore. I'm gonna stay in my house, and I'm gonna cry, and I'm just gonna be trying to save. You're not gonna save anyways, because the government is gonna take all your money. So you might as well be the one taking the money before someone else takes it. And this is how I did stuff in my life. And then all my friends, they're like, oh, see, you're still doing your hair. I was like, yeah, this is how I'm gonna get a job. And you bought some jackets. Yeah, it's how I'm gonna do my interviews. If you're just scared and trying to be responsible all the time, you're not gonna get anything done. So take some risk, follow your dreams, and trust that the universe has your back. And if the universe doesn't, then find some people who do have your back. And this is why I love my American network, because I feel like that we do have each other's back. And I want to bring this loyalty. I want to bring a network. They told me, quit your job and leave. I did it. I was like, okay, I trust them. They're the most smartest people in the world. They run the FBI, they run the Pentagon, they run Department of State, SpaceX, all of this. I wanted to be a part of it so bad. I'm so heartbroken. I want to cry every time I think about the United States, but I'm like, I want to trust also. They're professionals, so the world is not over. I can go back. So you trust your team. And I sold my house to show the example. I was like, okay, sometimes you have to admit defeat, okay, to show the Russians. Now it's time to stop, sign the peace process. I live by example. And we need more of that. Even if you don't have the instant result, the instant success, life is long. And like my mentor would say, in a year, you'll still be there. So go for your dreams. Okay, here we got Elon Musk, and you got also Kim, and the mentors, all the people who were there to inspire the journey. The Carsons didn't make it either. What happened? We don't know. But Nassim Haramein, great teams. I love them so much. They've been partners with me since the very beginning. We started with the Flower of Life. They were studying the energy of symbols when I started my mandalas. And I started seeing my mandalas activating and having all these light codes coming through it. And then they were proving it scientifically. And then they started creating the art crystal with the energy of the black holes, the same vacuum force that they put. I should have been wearing my art today. That circulates, the flow, the water in your body to recode your frequency. They also studied the wormholes, okay, for time travel. The entanglement concept was also explained by them, by the Resonance Science Foundation, that is now the International Space Federation, which explains a lot of concepts like telepathy, the Akashic records, which is the knowledge we only use 10% of our brain, but we should be able to unlock and have access to all the knowledge in the universe. Just because we're made of atoms and electrons, and all the electrons touch each other, which means that the information travels from here to the other side of the world, even the universe, in just a few seconds. Everything is electricity conduct connected. So it's normal if sometimes you receive information you've never heard about it, but you receive that information, or a dream, or sometimes through transgenerational memories in your DNA. You can have memories from your ancestors. One day I went to Tunisia, and I went to this place, and I felt like I was 12 years old. I had never been to Tunisia before, but I knew this place. I know I had been there before. I was like, maybe one of my great grandparents or whatever served in the military, or I don't know, maybe they were from there. But I had a memory from this time. And all these things that were esoteric and a little paranormal before, now they're explained by science. So this is the best time in history to link art, science, education, politics, all of this, to make it fun and still efficient and still serious, you know? My little man is like my little Esteban. Lives with his dad now, and I don't know when I'm gonna see him again, but it's gonna be another fight. Yeah, this is all my work for the energy transition in the space industry, the peace plan that I proposed for Russia and Ukraine. My campaigns, I did a lot of campaigns for the Nobel Prize, for the Secretary General of the United Nations, for Donald Trump also. I said it many times that I admire him because a lot of people hated him, and he did a lot of things that are difficult, you know, like chasing out immigrants. I'm dearly against it, but at the same time, I've done the same thing. I've kicked people out of my house before because they were drowning me. So, you know, I said once again, you can't offer people a ticket to the concert and then blame them for going. You know, if Joe Biden opened the borders at that time and they went through the borders, they saw a custom officer upon entry who gave them a temporary visa to go to a judge and do their work visa and everything, you can then blame them for coming if you invited them, if you gave them a chance, you know. So I'm deeply against it. At the same time, it was important also to restore respect for the United States. It's just like me. I feel like, you know, people have lost a lot of respect because when the career or you're divorced, basically when you're alone and you don't have the money, people are going to disrespect you because you can't do nothing against them. Also, they think, you know. So that's why I never underestimate the network, because maybe I can't do anything, but I've been very loyal to my people, and I have people very loyal to me as well. And this is the power that we have in the network. If you're working with humanitarian organizations, or you're working with UNESCO, maybe we don't have the fundings all the time to go and save, you know, some prisoners in Iran, or to do something for Gaza, but your network can. You know people in the network who are gonna send badass military operations to go and, you know, kidnap a dictator president in Venezuela and put the Nobel Prize winner, or the president-elect, in the place. So, but it's all about dialogue. It's about stepping up for each other and keeping each other accountable. It's not just, hey, we took the president of Venezuela and now we're just gonna enjoy the oil and the benefit of the oil and take the money. No, now we have to restore the democracy. We have to help Maria Corina Machado to become the president, or Edmundo, the one she ran with. You know, we have to finish the job. In Iran, they have this journalist who is being prisoner and tortured. You know, the Nobel Prize Committee is doing an amazing job because they profilers, so they study all year long the story of people. Are they really who they say they are? What have they done really? Like, you know, once you win this type of prize, it's a reference, and the government should recognize that. So this was very, very strong, because the Nobel Prize is not a guarantee that you're going to be respected by your government. You know, the opposite. She was captured, tortured. So we have to show the partnership. We have to show that you don't mess with those people. We're going to come and save her. We're going to destroy any government. And this is what Trump is doing right now. They're already on it. I love them. Like the Secretary of War, Donald Trump, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, which I hope is going to be the next president. They are awesome. They listen. I loved about them is that they listen, and then beam, they get the job done. You know, this is our work as journalists, to report this kind of information, to relay the work of each other, to send the proofs. Everybody brings their little piece of the puzzle, and then those who can, they're going. So I love that. That's what I love to do, and I feel like every organization promotes their own work. And because I wasn't tied to anyone, I was the one who was tying everybody together. And just, I like to do that. So UNESCO is like the best place. It's education, it's science, it's culture. Of course, it's always going to be political, because if you're political, this is where the fundings, this is where the law, the legal framework, and all this is going to be assessed and determined. So with our beautiful partnership between the European Union and the United States, and also the leverage that we have with Russia, and hoping to end this war with Ukraine, I hope to be joining your team really soon. Bring my books, bring my trainings, they're ready to go. Give you all my time. I don't have my son, I don't have, I'm all by myself, I'm free. I can come next week to work in Paris and give you all my time, all my energy, and start working, doing amazing things together. And anything, guys. So still excited. It was really time for renewal in my life. I've been stuck in 10 years in the US. Maybe I couldn't help them from there, but maybe we can help them from here and be an example and show what is the European lifestyle and how we do things here, and how, I could do more in 2 weeks here than I've done in 10 years in the United States. So maybe there is a problem in their system. The United States is a society that is very masculine. It's technology, engineering. If you go there to work with technology, engineering, then you have all your chances. If you're a man, because they don't want to have women, they're dangerous, they're a threat, and mostly they don't have pity for weak people. They were gonna beat them up. So you just want to show that you're not scared and you are strong enough to take it, and then after that you get respected. So here I feel like in France life is a little easier, and it's nice to live. I really, really wish that we did this project, the Ministry of Sound project, because I don't criticize. It's so important. I know it seems simple, but I don't criticize Americans because I despise them. It's because I'm sad of what they're missing out on. They're missing out on. A lot of Americans are depressed, they're broke. But here in France, if you're broke, you can still have a nice life. You just go outside. You're broke, you just go to the beach, you go walk at the beach, you have the beautiful landscapes, you have the cafe, a little terrace at the cafe, you just stop there, $5, you eat a little crepe, you drink a glass of wine in the sun, and boom, you had an amazing day. You just walk. You go to downtown, you park your car, you take the train, and you walk all day downtown. The streets are beautiful, you get these little shops, you talk to the salesperson, at the store. I was walking with my boyfriend the other day. He was like, you talk to everyone, like you like to just talk, like you stop at the store and you just start chit-chatting with the lady or whatever. I was like, yes, it's nice, I missed it. In the US, you go from a parking lot to a parking lot and then another parking lot, and you don't have this connection with the environment around you. So I wanted to bring that to them. It's not that I needed their help to understand life, and they were all trying to teach me life. I was trying to help them see connection between people, love. Just because you love on people doesn't mean you're going to break families. I was trying to teach him that the journey matters. In the US, your productivity, results. Like even teachers, what is the data? Did you post like the percentage? How much percentage did they learn today? How much, what is the productivity in your last jobs? Like, I don't fucking know. I'm a teacher. Like I teach them Spanish. What do you mean to post? Like, today they learned 20% of Buenos Dias. Like, what the heck? Who cares? You're teaching them. It's contact, it's communication. Every day you practice, it's repetition, it's over the years. You learn a language. I learned Spanish like what, in 4 years? In 4 years I was almost bilingual. I learned in middle school all the way up to high school, 4 or 5 years. I was bilingual in Spanish, but teachers never posted data of how many words, percents of words and stuff we learned every day. This is ridiculous. The data, the percentage, the results, the productivity, point A to point B. You take your car from your house to the store, point A to B. There's no journey. It's just point A, reach to point B. The success, Here in France, it's like the journey. Sometimes you don't make it to your spot, or you take the whole day to make it, but you live. You go outside and you feel better. You breathe the ocean, you listen to the song of the waves and stuff, and you feel better. So that's what we need more of. And yes, so let's start. UNESCO will be the start. We'll publish the book, we'll publish the stories. And I love also, when I was working at the gallery in Jacksonville, I love to promote other people. Right now I've been isolated, so I talk a lot about myself because I've been isolated against my will. I was trying to be part of a community. I was trying to be part of the United Nations, the Alliance of Civilizations. I was trying to be part of the masterminds. I was trying to be part of the Forbidden Knowledge. I was trying to be part of everything. I made a movie for the Arsayan Foundation, never even replied to me. I went on my own dime to Egypt. I made a whole movie. I filmed everything. I made a movie for them. I sent them the movie. I was like, hey, I made a movie for you, high quality. I just bought a camera. So, you can produce the movie and just publish that. It's like literally I filmed the whole thing. And I interviewed people there. It was amazing. Didn't even reply to me because of the censorship trend. So I talk about me because I've been isolated against my will, but as soon as I had opportunities, I interviewed people. When I was at the gallery, every day I would make a little interview the artists that had their work there. So making people feel heard, feel important, and just encourage them to showcase their passion, make them want to continue. And we need the small businesses so much. We're not just Walmart and Carrefour and the big things. We need people like that know how to work with their hands, not just for the money, but also how to work with their hands. Everybody wants to work in Wall Street and like big things, but actually I love people who work with their hands, like a painter, or how do you call the clothing, making clothing, like sewing, pottery, or even like I can't even change my car wheel, changing a car wheel and stuff. All these skills that we must keep to preserve the cultural heritage, the patrimony, and all this stuff. That's exactly UNESCO. It's just like the languages, traditional crafts and arts and everything. I love that. I love that. So you make a little documentary and you help them open a shop. In Mexico, for example, they should go to Mexico and they should help them come to the United States and open their shops and sell from Mexico, send out their merchandise and open shops there. Not the opposite and kicking them out, but bringing the culture there. So we preserve these shops and people can walk and they see colors, they see things. But we're gonna keep going, we're gonna do it. All right, guys, so yes, so this is my video for both the jobs of education and cultural assistant director of Mr. Elenani, the director of the UNESCO. I hope to meet you soon for an interview. I hope to work together for a long time, at least till 2028. Hopefully after that, I will go do politics back in the United States. But for now, I would love to go to Paris. I'm available right now, tomorrow I can move. And yes, it would be amazing. I'm a very honest person. I live with integrity. I'm very transparent. I say what I think. When I like something, I say it. When I don't like something, I say it. I'm very loyal. I'm extremely honest and loyal. I don't lie. I love to drink, I love to eat, I love to laugh. I'm also very serious. I don't take no shit. I don't like people being lied to. I don't like violence. I don't like murders. I don't like injustice. I hate that. I just have all these emotions that I feel like people need both. They need to be aware and have the consciousness about the dramas in the world and wanting to make a difference, but you can also let that completely take over your person and feel depressed about all the craziness in the world, and you have to be able to also bring the joy and seize the joy for yourself also, not to end up depressed, which is what I had a lot in the US when I was isolated, and this is all I had. Now I'm here, I have my people, my culture, so it's easier for me to find the little joys of every day and trying to share it and being the people's safe space for refugees who come here or people who visit UNESCO, all around the world. Be that safe place that people come, they feel comfortable with, they know they're gonna get help, they know you're not gonna give up on them, yet they know you want to see their art, you want to promote them. There's no sarcasm or just like sarcasm, cynicism of, I hate that. We can be better. You can explain things to people and work on ourselves, but it's easier to do that together, of course. So thank you so much for watching. I know it's a long video, but there's so much work to do. Let's start tomorrow. Okay, have a great day. Thank you.